Good evening, all my hoodies. Welcome back to the Hood Table, and thank you for tuning in to the Hood Table podcast with your girl Tanya. Now, you guys already know that I've been keeping up with the R. Kelly trial and everything that's been going on, and updating you on new information and new witnesses and new allegations, all that, this and the third. And I told you last week that they had selected the jury, 7 men and 5 women, who were basically sworn in last Wednesday after being screened by the U.S. District Judge Ann Donnelly in federal court in Brooklyn. And I told you that opening statements will begin on Wednesday, August 18th, which is today. Now, keep in mind that the trial has been closed off to all public people. The public cannot be in there, and also in person, the media can't even be in there. And that's was up to the judge who decided, because of the fact that the Rona numbers have spiked within the last month over this summer. They want to make sure they keep everybody safe. But we still is going to be keeping up with this trial all the way to the very, very end. The jurors, they will remain anonymous and partially sequestered, as I told you guys last week. And also, they are forecasting the trial to last between 6 and 8 weeks. 6 and 8 weeks. Now, we already know that R. Kelly is facing a multitude of charges from sex trafficking to forced labor, racketeering, sexual exploitation of children, and kidnapping. And of course, he continues to deny. He is going to deny to the day that he died. And we also know that as of recently, there were some allegations made. Some new allegations have surfaced about a 17-year-old boy that R. Kelly had a relationship with almost 15 years ago, and a second boy who was between the age of 16 and 17 years old that the first boy had introduced him to, that it was said that he had a relationship with. Now, today, opening statements have started, and they are saying that some of this trial is going to be hard to watch. It's going to be tough to watch, and I really wish that the media was there live in the court. I really wish. I so wanted to watch this trial play out, on television. But unfortunately, what we find out will be in the news on the internet. But basically, what they're saying is, in the opening statements of the prosecutors, they are saying that with the help of R. Kelly's inner circle, he preyed on and abused women and teenagers over a period of 3 decades, over 30 years. And many of them, he basically blackmailed, which we done talked about before, especially around the time when the series on Lifetime Surviving R. Kelly came out. They were alleging that he blackmailed women by videotaping them or forcing them to sign letters to ensure their silence. That was how he kept a lot of his victims quiet, because they said he took damning videos of them, embarrassing videos of them. Videos like, R. Kelly likes to do 50 Shades of Grey type of stuff, urinating on women, threesomes, some of that stuff could be very, very embarrassing to people. And some people are like, hey, that's what I like to do. But he knew what he was doing. And basically, he was blackmailing those women. All those tapes that they had confiscated several times throughout the years, like every time they confiscated some tapes, he would find a way, his lawyers would find a way to get him up out of the situation. And the situation we talked about the other day, when it was in Florida and he was alleged to be with another underage girl, they basically said that the cops did not have they didn't have enough proof or enough evidence to actually go into his house, take all his evidence, take all those videotapes, take his camcorders. They didn't have enough, information before they went and did that. So they basically was trying to say that that search could be thrown out. And that's basically what happened. Even though they found all those tapes with him with an underage girl. It just keep happening over and over and over again. But will it happen again this time? Do you guys think that he's going to get off this time? I do not think so. I really don't think so. I don't think that R. Kelly is going to be able to weasel his way out of this situation. Now, I know that that one time in Florida, when they seized his camera equipment, videotapes, that they found with him with a 14-year-old girl. Again, they didn't have sufficient evidence to justify that search and seizure. But this time, they're claiming to have people in his inner circle testifying against him. Who these people are? I don't know. I don't know, but they having people in his inner circle, and I think the reason being is because we know that a lot of the things that he was able to do over 3 decades, he could not have done it without the help of his inner circle, especially the trafficking, the underage girls that they were flying in and out of the city. He could not have done that. Some of the people who were like setting up his arrangements, setting up his hotel stays, booking the flights and things like that. He had people doing all kind of stuff, feeding those girls, shopping for those girls, driving those girls around. He could not have done that without his criminal enterprise in play, made up of bodyguards, drivers, assistants, and other employees. They basically saying like he was kind of like a mob boss. That's what prosecutors are saying. And they saying that with his team, he was able to lure these young women in, these young girls, these young boys from concerts, from McDonald's, having them in the backstage area after his performances to make sure he got their contact information, their phone number, their addresses, and he had to rely on his camp, his inner circle, to help him facilitate those crimes. And that's why I'm saying I cannot wait to find out who exactly in his inner circle is going to testify. But yeah, it's going to be witnesses that's going to testify. It's going to be people in his inner circle that's going to testify. There's multiple female accusers under the age of 17, and they're naming them like, because when you're underage, like even Aaliyah, on the situation with Aaliyah, they're actually considering her as Jane Doe as well. So all the girls who are young in that era, in that timeline, back in the day, they're calling them Jane Does, like Jane Doe number 1, Jane Doe number 2, Jane Doe number 3, and so on and so on and so on. But yeah, there were people who knowingly and intentionally transported at least 2 underage girls identified in court papers as Jane Doe 5 and Jane Doe 6 for the purpose of unlawful sexual intercourse. And Jane Doe 6, I know y'all can recall the allegations that were swirling around a while back about him giving one of his underage victims herpes. Yes, that would be Jane Doe number 6. Jane Doe number 6. And also among the allegations that prosecutors presented today in opening statements, they said his rules, his punishments, how he kept his victims compliant. He used every trick in the book, from directing them to wear baggy clothes so they could look like boys. Telling them not to look at other guys. We remember this in the series, the Surviving R. Kelly series on Lifetime, how he would threaten them, and even the men in his inner circle knew that these women, these females, these girls were not to look at any other man than R. Kelly. And on top of that, they had to call him daddy. They had to call him daddy. That was one of his rules. That was one of his rules. He had some really, really strict rules, and his inner circle would help him enforce those rules. Now, as far as other allegations that they are bringing to the table in the opening statements, we already know that last week R. Kelly admitted to what we have already known for years, marrying Aaliyah. falsifying documents to make her appear to be 18 when she was only 15. How he had married her in 1994 when she was 15 years old after finding out that she might possibly be pregnant. Allegedly, he bribed and paid an Illinois government employee $500 to obtain a fake ID for the Princess of R&B, Aaliyah, so that he could get the marriage certificate and marry her in 1994. At that time, as most of us know, the bump and grind artist was 27 years old. 27 years old. He was 17 years older. I'm sorry, 12 years older. He was 12 years older than Aaliyah at that time. And at that time they said he claimed he needed to marry her so that she would not talk, figuring if they were husband and wife, she would not talk, she would not be able to testify against him. And if they were married, if she was indeed pregnant and had a baby, maybe it would look better because they were married. But yeah, the two of them got married inside of an Illinois hotel near the airport, and immediately after the ceremony, R. Kelly flew out of state to go on his music tour. In the music tour. Now they're also saying in the indictment, Aaliyah, like I said before, she is also a Jane Doe. She will be Jane Doe number 1. She was a minor at that time, so again, she is going to be referred to as Jane Doe number 1 during the trial. Jane Doe number 2, they said was coerced. He coerced her to participate in sexual explicit conduct for the purpose of producing one or more visual depictions of such conduct, aka recording, video recordings. That's what he did with most of the people that he had sex with. And that was between May and October of 1999. The indictment also accuses Kelly of kidnapping a woman. We did mention kidnapping was one of the charges. Jane Doe number 3 said between 2003 and 2004, she was kidnapped and basically held against her will. There are some more allegations. He transported Jane Doe number 4. She was a minor at the time for the purpose of producing one or more visual depictions of such conduct, aka videotaping, video recording, pictures, and whatnot. There's a lot of damning testimony and witnesses, including in his inner circle. They have text messages. They have voice messages. They have expert witnesses. They have a lot of people. They say this trial is going to last between 6 to 8 weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if it lasts longer, but they're saying it's going to take approximately like 6 to 8 weeks for the entire trial. But also in a last ditch effort filed Monday night, his defense, they tried to dismiss the 9-count indictment against Kelly. His defense lawyers argued that the herpes does not fall under a public health law definition of an acute bacterial venereal disease. Something like HIV. Like if you normally have HIV or AIDS, and you give it to somebody or you have sex with them and don't protect yourself or don't tell them and they get the disease, you can go to jail for that. You can go to jail for that because that is a disease that oftentimes results in death. Like death. Herpes, they're saying, is significantly much different than HIV. But to me, child, if you got HIV, herpes, gonorrhea, syphilis, chlamydia, the cooties, as we used to call it back in the day, I'll be trying to, yes. Can we go to court? I need some money. I need some compensation for the rest of my life. Especially if he was R. Kelly back in those days when he had some good money. But anywho, y'all, that is what I gathered from opening statements today of the R. Kelly trial. And of course, you guys, we are going to be discussing this till it is ended, till it's over. Whether he gets off, whether he goes to prison for many, many years, which I believe will happen. I do believe that will happen. We will be staying up to every detail of this situation. I will have my ears and eyes open to everything, the testimonies, the witnesses. We gonna child, y'all better get ready. Y'all better get ready. They are saying that this is going to be a case that will be tough to watch. Like all the brutal blackmail, the videotapes, the conversations, the text messages, mm-mm-mm. All of that to try to ensure the silence of these people. I'm so glad some people were strong enough to speak out, to stop this man from continuing on his criminal enterprise. And, like we've all been saying, other people should also face charges. But, but, I'm looking forward to finding out if any of them will be. Because it's saying that people in his inner circle will be testifying, which I believe is going to be more in their benefit because of the fact, conspiracy. A lot of those people knew exactly what was going on. A lot of them knew exactly what was going on. But anyway, y'all, till we come back to you again, the Hood Table Podcast is out with your girl Tanya. Make sure you like the video, share the video, subscribe to the Hood Table if you're not already subscribed. And remember, we're on Facebook, TikTok, IG, Twitter, Snapchat. The Hood Table is everywhere. So please follow us. And we also have a backup YouTube channel called The Hood Table 402. And the 402, of course, represents for our zip code, for our area code in Omaha, Nebraska. So make sure you also subscribe to our backup channel. I will put that link into the matter of fact, our backup channel, I believe, is in the description box of every video. But if not, I will make sure I put it in there so you guys can find our backup channel. And in the meantime and in between time, y'all, stay safe, be blessed, remain vigilant at all times, and never ever forget to always keep it hood. Bye.